Hello. Um, I guess it's still morning. It's just after 11 o'clock. It's 11:15. I just made myself my pasta. I used the spiral pasta this time with my homemade sauce with my fresh cut up tomatoes and my an extra virgin olive oil and garlic seasoning. It's quite good. I'm letting it cool down a bit right now. Oh, pardon me. My goodness. Seems I have a frog in my throat. We'll see if the tang clears it up a bit. It seems to have done something, yes. Still not exactly right, but anyway, I just got some of my packaged pasta into sealed up plastic and glass jars because one tip for anybody who may find themselves in this situation. You know how pasta, when you buy it at the store, it comes in, usually it'll come in like a plastic bag, basically, That's how it'll come, dried pasta. It just comes in a plastic sack. If you're living like I am and you leave it in the plastic sack, apparently that plastic sack is not airtight because it will go moldy. And I've lost a lot of pasta that way. I had to throw out a lot of pasta because I'd stocked up on pasta. And I had to throw out a lot of it this past spring because of that, because it had all blue molded in the packaging. Packages that had never been opened, it was all full of blue mold. So that's what I've done anyway, is I've put the pasta that I have that's good yet into sealed up plastic and glass jars, and then it seems to stay pretty good. The same with rice. If you leave rice in the plastic bag it comes in, it'll go moldy. Powdered potatoes are the same. I've learned all these lessons the hard way, anyway. They need to be taken out of the original packaging and sealed up in glass jars, preferably, or at the very least plastic jars that are sealed tight, And so I do save my glass and my plastic jars for that reason, and I use those to keep my rice and my other things that I know will go bad, will get moldy, because I've lost hundreds of dollars to moldy food. So something you learn anyway. But one thing I will say, I've noticed over the course of my life different hardships that I've had to endure, and then I haven't had an easy life. I've had some bad things happen. Been used as a guinea pig for medical experiments when I was a kid, and that screwed me up pretty bad. I made some videos about that for anybody who's new to the channel. If you want to know about that, you can go back and hear about it. Got locked up for 7 months in jail, labeled incorrigible, and locked up when I was 14 and 15 years old. And that was because my stepmother chased me out of an apartment with a knife because I had my suit on. I was going to Mass. I was Catholic. She didn't like Catholics. And so that resulted in me going to jail for 7 months, labeled incorrigible, because a social worker from the CAS, Children's Aid Society, got involved, and she didn't want to deal with teenagers, so she labeled me incorrigible and had me locked up. Did 7 months in jail. That was bad. Now, of course, there's this situation. There have been a lot of other hardships over the years, too, but then now there's this situation. But what I find is all of these things are whatever you make of them. Like being used as a guinea pig for medical experiments taught me, and being locked up, too, after that. That taught me not to unconditionally trust authority. It taught me to have a critical mind. It taught me to think for myself. It also taught me compassion. It taught me that, everybody has a story, and we don't always know what that person's story is. That person may be doing things differently than we think they should. They may do things in an unconventional way, but for them, that might be the way they need to do them, and so we have to allow that, and we have to have some compassion for people in that situation. Um, like I say, this situation here, it's forcing me, I'm learning an awful lot. It's forcing me to hone my skills in ways that I wouldn't otherwise. Um, even learning about packaging food properly when you're living in this environment and stuff. I didn't know that. When I lived in a house, I lived in apartments and houses all my life. I never knew what it was to live like I'm living now. And I'm finding out a lot of things that I wouldn't have known, and maybe I can pass a little bit of that on here. That's one of the reasons I do this. It's not the only reason, but by sharing my journey with you and showing you the pitfalls and how I overcome them, um, and maybe by showing you the expensive lesson I learned in the springtime when I had to throw out all that food. That was hundreds of dollars of food that I lost because I didn't have it packaged properly. It was packaged fine if you're living in a heated house, but not for this environment. It wasn't. And so see, hopefully if somebody watching this, if they find themselves in the situation I'm in now, that will be helpful to them. That may be a blessing to that person, so that my loss then in a way will become a blessing to somebody else, because it's still going to be my loss whether I share it or not. But if I share it and somebody sees it, they might be able to avoid having to lose all their food. So, and especially now because food is terrible expensive. Anyway, like I said, I do find that life's hardships and what seemed like curses at the time often turn out to be the greatest gifts, because they toughen us up, they teach us things that, your mind will work better if you face hardships through your life. Um, you'll be able to cope with adversity when it comes if you have experience coping with adversity. Hardship will make you more compassionate, it'll make you more generous, it'll just make you an all-around better person. And I'm not saying that I'm a perfect person. I've got a long way to go, and I recognize that. But I'm a better person than I would be had I not lived the life I've lived. And so I think for me, this is just what was supposed to be. And I'm hoping that this isn't always what's supposed to be. I want to get out of this situation. But I take it day by day. I take it as it comes, that's all. And for the time being, I'm in this situation, and I'm going to make the most of it. And I'm going to learn as much as I can from it. Well, I got to get ready because I'm going to be working today in town for a lady. There's a lady I do some work for at her house, and I'm going to be doing that today. And so, anyway, I do hope you're all doing well, whatever you're doing and wherever you are. And I appreciate you. And we'll talk later.